First off, big thanks to Focus Nordic for sponsoring this video. Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto. I'm a photographer. In this video I'm going to show you my new upgraded film development kit. The reason I'm sharing this with you is that maybe someone out there in my audience wants to start shooting film, and maybe they even want to start developing their own black and white films. So I think this information might be useful for anyone considering something like that. I know most of you are digital shooters, but there are always new people coming into film photography. Let me first show you my old film development kit, which is this stainless steel tank and these 4 stainless steel reels. I bought this tank and these reels used a few years ago when I revived my interest to film photography. The main reason why I wanted to upgrade my film development kit is this tank. See, when I'm manually agitating the film, like so, I'm inverting the tank and turning it a little bit, a few times every minute. And whenever I turn this tank upside down, it leaks. Not a whole lot, but enough to make the whole process a little bit messy and not very nice. Also, now that I've been shooting a lot more film lately, I wanted something that is a little bit more convenient for me to use, and something that I won't be putting off because I have poor tools for it. Before I show you my new upgraded film development kit, let me remind you of the Urban Street Narratives workshop, which I'm organizing together with my good friends Robin Wong and Peter Forsgård. It all happens in the spring of 2026 in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Please do check out the link down below and sign up. We have an early bird special now until the end of July 2025. Please do check out the link down below and sign up. I'd love to see you guys in Kuala Lumpur next year. And now my new film development kit, and it's this Jobo silver base kit. It comes with a tank. 1520 is the product number or model number for the tank, and this motorized base. I went for this motorized base because I wanted the convenience. Now the motor takes care of the agitation, and I can, for example, have a cup of coffee while the film is developing all on its own, and that is of course very nice. When I first used this system, I thought, wow, why didn't I get something like this much earlier? I know there are also other motorized systems on the market. I went for this because, first of all, it has existed to my knowledge for many years, so I thought it's probably reliable and there are no issues with it. And it's also very super simple. And for black and white development, you don't need anything more complicated than this. You don't even need the motorized base. It is just because I wanted something convenient. I'm lazy. Anyway, you don't need anything more complicated than this, because black and white film development is actually very simple. You can do it in room temperature. Anything between about 20 and 24 degrees Celsius is good enough. You don't need any temperature control or anything like that. As long as you keep your process the same every time, then you can get predictable results. The kit has, like I said, it has this 1520 tank and the motorized base and 2 reels. These reels, plastic reels, are neat, and this is one upside compared to the metal steel reels, is that you can expand these reels and use the same reel for medium format film as well. This tank can take up to 2 35mm reels and 1 medium format reel. I also got this expansion part for the tank, so I can develop up to 5 35mm films at the same time, which is plenty enough for me. But I just wanted to have the option to be able to develop more than 2 rolls at a time. So when I attach this expansion part to the tank, I can develop up to 5 films at the same time. The tank attaches to the base with the magnet, and the motor rotates the tank like so, and it will change the direction after every few turns to make sure the development is even. And because the tank is horizontally mounted on the base when it's developing the films, the tank requires only about half of the chemicals compared to a manual development where you would have the tank like this. And of course, if the tank is vertically standing like so, you would have to fill it up to cover all the films in the tank. However, when the tank is horizontally mounted like so, you would only have to fill it halfway up, and because it's rotating continuously, every part of the film gets soaked into the developer while the tank is rotating. And of course, if you use less chemicals, it's less costly, but there's also another reason to use less chemicals. See, when you are finished with developing your film, you must not pour the chemicals down the drain. You have to take them to a toxic waste recycling center. And the less chemicals you use, the less frequently you have to take the used chemicals to the toxic waste recycling center. I think I already mentioned that I've been super happy with this system. It's very simple to use. There's only one switch on the back of the motor. Even I can use it without reading the manual. And it's so super convenient and nice just to leave the motor rotating the tank while I can have a coffee or check my emails or whatever. I have now developed enough rolls on this kit to be able to say that the results are really fantastic. I'm super happy, and the results are also very consistent. I made once a small mistake though. Because of the continuous agitation, you have to reduce the development time by about 10% or so. And I forgot to do that, and my negatives came out a little bit too dense, but that was entirely my fault. I was just too excited to get the films developed, and I didn't just pay attention to the development time, and I didn't count for the continuous agitation because this thing is still relatively new to me. The stainless steel reels, they have one big advantage if you develop a lot of film. You can load the film on the steel reel even if the reel is wet. And that is very useful if you have to develop more than one batches of film back to back. You don't have to wait for the reel to be completely dry before you can use it again. These plastic reels can be pretty much impossible to load if there is moisture somewhere in the reel. But there are also some very good reasons to choose plastic reels. One such reason is that you can use the same reels for both medium format and 35mm because you can change the width of the reel. If you use steel reels, you need separate reels for medium format and 35. Another upside with these plastic reels is that if you happen to drop one of these, probably nothing happens. However, if you drop one of these steel reels, they can bend. And they can be very difficult to bend back to the correct shape. And if the reel is out of shape, it can be pretty much impossible to load the film properly on the reel. Another good reason to get plastic reels is that, in my opinion, they are easier to load than the steel reels. And because you are loading the film onto the reel in a complete darkness, you really don't want to have any issues in that situation. You can't turn on the lights to see what is wrong because then you will ruin your film. So trust me, the easy way is the better way. The main reason why I started to prefer these steel reels sometime in the late 1980s was the ability to use wet reels. Back then sometimes I had so many films to develop that I had to repeat the development process many times back to back. However, I don't have that problem anymore most of the time. Like I think I already said, I have 2, 3, maximum 5 roles at the same time to develop. So this new system is good enough, especially with this expansion part, which can accommodate up to 5 rolls of 35mm film. If you are just starting out and you don't want the motorized base, you may think it's too much right at the start, you can buy one of these 15-20 tanks with a couple of reels and without the magnet for hand or manual development, and then you agitate the tank like so, or whatever is your chosen agitation method. And if you invert these tanks, they don't leak. It's a completely mess-free process with one of these tanks, and I would highly recommend these if you are starting out and want to try out home development for your black and white films. The Jobo numbering system can be a little bit confusing, at least it was to me when I was looking at their catalog before I bought this setup. They have these 1500 series tanks, and then they have 2500 series tanks, and these 1500 series tanks, they are smaller in diameter. Those larger tanks, I understand they are better for a large format film, for example 4x5 and things like that. So the film is not so strongly curved. It fits better inside the bigger tank. These 1500 series tanks are perfect for 35mm and medium format film. So there you have it, my new upgraded film development kit. That's all I have to share in this video. I hope this was useful and maybe even entertaining. Thank you so much. I hope to see you soon in the next one.